The air crackled with energy as the fused warrior, Vegito, stood defiantly before the monstrous form of Majin Buu. The battlefield was a wasteland of shattered rock and smoldering craters, evidence of the titanic clash that had already unfolded. Vegito's blue and orange gi fluttered in the wind, his smirk unwavering despite the overwhelming power radiating from his pink-skinned adversary. "You're tough, I'll give you that," Vegito taunted, rolling his shoulders. "But let's see how you handle this." Majin Buu's grotesque face twisted into a grin, his beady eyes gleaming with malice. "Hee hee. You talk big, but you won't last." His body pulsed with dark energy, the very ground trembling beneath his feet. Without warning, Buu lunged forward, his fist encased in a swirling vortex of destruction. Vegito barely had time to react, crossing his arms to block the blow, but the force sent him skidding backward, his boots carving deep trenches into the earth. Gritting his teeth, Vegito channeled his ki, his aura erupting in a blinding golden flare as he ascended to Super Saiyan Blue. The transformation sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, the sheer pressure causing nearby boulders to disintegrate. "Now we're talking," he growled, vanishing in a blur of speed. His fist connected with Buu's gut, the impact sending the demonic being rocketing into a distant cliffside. The mountain crumbled like paper, burying Buu beneath tons of rubble. But the victory was short-lived. A sinister laugh echoed from the dust cloud as Buu emerged unscathed, his body reforming instantly. "Nice try." He cackled, stretching his arm like rubber to ensnare Vegito's ankle. With a brutal yank, he slammed the Saiyan into the ground repeatedly before hurling him skyward. Vegito twisted midair, flipping to regain his balance, but Buu was already upon him, his fists a flurry of relentless strikes. Vegito countered with precision, his movements a blur as he parried and dodged, each block sending sparks of energy flying. He retaliated with a devastating knee to Buu's chin, followed by a spinning kick that sent the pink menace spiraling. Seizing the opening, Vegito cupped his hands at his side, gathering a swirling mass of blue energy. "Final Kamehameha," he roared, unleashing the beam with enough force to split the heavens. The attack engulfed Buu, the explosion illuminating the sky like a second sun. Yet, as the smoke cleared, Buu's laughter rang out once more. His body had regenerated, his grin wider than ever. "Is that all you've got?" he mocked. Vegito's confidence wavered for the first time. He had expected Buu to be strong, but this level of regeneration was absurd. Worse yet, he could feel the fusion's time limit approaching, his power was waning. Buu capitalized on the hesitation, his body expanding grotesquely before launching a barrage of energy blasts. Vegito weaved through them, but one grazed his shoulder, sending a jolt of pain through his body. He hissed, clutching the wound. "TCH. This isn't good." His mind raced. If he couldn't finish Buu off soon, the fusion would break, leaving Goku and Vegeta vulnerable. With a roar, Vegito pushed past his limits, his aura flaring brighter as he charged forward. His fists became a storm of blows, each strike infused with enough force to level cities. Buu staggered under the assault, his body distorting from the sheer impact. But then, in a move Vegito hadn't anticipated, Buu's torso split open like a gaping maw, tendrils of pink flesh lashing out. Before Vegito could react, the tendrils wrapped around him, dragging him into Buu's gelatinous body. The world turned dark and suffocating. Vegito struggled, his muscles straining against the viscous prison, but it was no use. His vision blurred as Buu's corrosive energy seeped into him, weakening his resolve. "Damn it," he gasped, feeling his fusion unravel. The last thing he saw was a flash of light as his body split apart, leaving Goku and Vegeta standing in his place, their faces etched with shock and fury. Goku clenched his fists, his heart pounding. They had failed. Vegito had been their ultimate weapon, and now he was gone. Buu loomed over them, his laughter echoing like a death knell. "Now it's just you two," he sneered. "Let's see how long you last." Vegeta spat to the side, his pride wounded but his determination unbroken. "We don't need fusion to finish you," he growled, powering up to his maximum. Goku nodded, his eyes hardening. The battle was far from over, but the odds had never been worse. The air crackled with residual energy as the fused warrior, Vegito, dissolved into two separate beings, Goku and Vegeta, their bodies slamming hard into the cracked earth of the battlefield. The pink, grotesque form of Majin Buu loomed above them, his gelatinous body still quivering from the failed fusion's aftermath. Goku groaned, pushing himself up on one elbow, his muscles screaming in protest. "Darn it," he muttered, wiping blood from his lip. 30 minutes wasn't enough. Vegeta snarled beside him, his pride burning hotter than his injuries. "This is your fault, Kakarot. If you hadn't hesitated, save it, Vegeta," Goku shot back, eyes locked on Buu. "We've got bigger problems." Buu's laughter echoed like a distorted carnival tune as he stretched his arms wide, his body pulsing with newfound power. "Fusion is fun," he giggled, "but now I get to play with you both." Without warning, he lunged, his fist elongating like rubber, aimed straight for Vegeta's face. The Saiyan prince barely dodged, flipping backward as the fist cratered the ground where he'd stood. Goku seized the opening, darting in with a flurry of punches, each strike landing with explosive force, but Buu's body simply absorbed the blows, reforming instantly. "TCH, useless," Vegeta spat, charging his Gallic gun. "Let's see how he handles this." The violet beam erupted from his palms, carving a molten trench through the earth before engulfing Buu's torso, but the monster just grinned wider as the energy merged with him, his pink flesh glowing ominously. Goku's stomach dropped. He's adapting. Before he could react, Buu retaliated, firing a twisted copy of the Gallic gun right back at them. The blast detonated like a supernova, hurling both scions through the ruined landscape. Goku twisted midair, catching Vegeta's arm to steady him as they skidded to a stop. "We need a new plan," Goku panted. Vegeta yanked his arm free. "I don't do plans," he snapped, but his eyes flickered to the horizon, where the sky was darkening unnaturally. A swirling vortex of black and purple energy had formed, crackling with malevolence. Buu paused, his head tilting. "Ooh, shiny," he cooed, but the amusement vanished as a figure emerged from the vortex, a tall, armored warrior with cold, glowing eyes. "Broly?" Goku gasped, disbelief warring with dread. The legendary Super Saiyan's gaze locked onto them, his breathing ragged, his muscles twitching with uncontrolled power. "No," Vegeta corrected grimly. Worse. This wasn't the Broly they'd fought before. This was a Broly consumed by the same dark energy that had once corrupted Vegeta. Broly's roar shook the planet, a shockwave of pure rage flattening everything in its path. Buu, for the first time, looked annoyed. "Hey! I'm the bad guy here." He whined, but Broly was already moving, a green blur of destruction. His fist connected with Buu's face, sending the pink monstrosity flying into a mountain, which promptly vaporized on impact. Goku and Vegeta exchanged a glance. "Temporary truce?" Goku offered. Vegeta's lip curled. "Temporary," he agreed. As Broly turned his fury toward them, Goku ignited his Super Saiyan blue form, the aura flaring like a sapphire inferno. Vegeta followed suit, his power surging in tandem. They attacked in unison, Goku teleporting behind Broly with a crushing axe kick, while Vegeta hammered a volley of ki blasts into his chest. Broly staggered but didn't fall, his body absorbing the punishment like a sponge. With a guttural snarl, he grabbed Goku by the leg and slammed him into Vegeta, sending both crashing through a rock formation. Dust choked the air as Goku coughed, spitting out dirt. "Okay, that hurt." Vegeta wiped his brow, glaring. "We need to exploit his blind rage. Lure him into a trap." Goku nodded, then blinked as an idea struck. "The canyon, the one with the unstable energy veins." Vegeta's eyes narrowed. "Risky. But it might work." They took off, Broly hot on their heels, his attacks leaving craters in their wake. As they neared the canyon's edge, Goku pivoted, firing a Kamehameha wave straight into the ground, the force destabilizing the terrain. The earth quaked, fissures splitting open as geysers of raw energy erupted. Broly, mid-leap, had no time to react as the ground beneath him collapsed, the volatile energy surging up like a tsunami. His howl of fury was drowned out by the explosion that followed, the shockwave hurling Goku and Vegeta back. Panting, Goku watched the smoke clear. Did we? But the answer came in the form of a pulsate heartbeat of pure malice. Broly emerged, his body crackling with dark lightning, his power doubled. "Oh, come on," Vegeta groaned. And then, from the rubble, Buu's laughter rang out. "My turn." The two threats, Broly and Buu, now stood side by side, one a force of nature, the other an indestructible abomination. Goku clenched his fists. Well. This escalated. Vegeta's smirk was razor thin. Finally, a challenge. The battle wasn't over. It had only just begun. The battlefield was a wasteland of smoking craters and shattered earth, the sky choked with dust as the fused warrior, Vegito, clashed with the monstrous Majin Buu. Despite his overwhelming power, time was running out, the fusion would last less than 30 minutes, and Buu's relentless regeneration made every attack feel futile. Goku's heart pounded as he felt the fusion's stability waver, the strain of their combined energy taking its toll. "We're not making a dent," Vegeta's voice growled in their shared mind. Goku gritted his teeth. "There's gotta be a weak spot we're missing." Then, In a flash of sickening realization, Buu's body surged forward, his gelatinous flesh expanding like a tidal wave. Before Vegito could react, Buu's form engulfed him, the sticky pink mass sealing around their limbs. The world went dark, the air thick with the stench of rot. Goku and Vegeta struggled, but Buu's absorption was absolute, their fusion shattered, leaving them trapped inside the monster's body, separated and powerless. Goku gasped as he materialized in the eerie, pulsating void of Buu's innards, the walls slick with grotesque veins. Nearby, Vegeta staggered to his feet, his face twisted in fury. "This is your fault," he snarled. "Your arrogance got us swallowed." Goku clenched his fists, guilt gnawing at him. "I know, but we ain't dead yet. There's still a way out." Vegeta scoffed. "How? Even fused, we couldn't beat him. Now we're just snacks." But then, a voice echoed through the cavernous space, soft, broken. "Kakarot. Vegeta." They turned to see a spectral figure shimmering in the gloom, the original Majin Buu, the innocent being buried beneath the evil. His eyes were wide with sorrow. "He's using my body. But I don't want this." Goku's breath caught. You're still in there?" The good Buu nodded weakly. "I can't fight him alone. But maybe together." A surge of hope ignited in Goku's chest. This was their chance. If we can reach the core of Buu's power, destabilize him from the inside, Vegeta cut him off. "And how do you propose we do that? Blast our way out? We'd be ripped apart." Goku grinned. "Nah. We let him think he's won. Play dead, then strike when he least expects it." Vegeta's eyes narrowed. "A gamble. But it's the only move we've got." Outside, Buu cackled, his bloated form shifting as he sensed their stillness. "No more fight? Good. Now I'll absorb your power too." His flesh convulsed, tendrils snaking toward the dormant warriors. But just as the absorption began, Goku and Vegeta erupted in unison, their auras blazing. Now, Goku roared, driving a fist into the pulsing membrane above them. Vegeta followed, a barrage of ki blasts tearing through the grotesque walls. The good Buu lent his energy, his voice a desperate cry. "Do it. Free me." The chamber trembled, cracks spider-webbing through Buu's form. The monster screamed, his body writhing as his own power turned against him. "No. Impossible." Goku and Vegeta pushed harder, their attacks synchronized, their resolve unbreakable. But then, betrayal. The good Buu's face twisted, his eyes flashing crimson. "Fools," he hissed, his voice now dripping with malice. "You thought I'd help you?" His hand lashed out, a surge of dark energy slamming into them both. Goku barely managed to block, but the force sent him crashing into the fleshy wall. Vegeta spat blood, his snarl venomous. "You tricked us." The good Buu's laughter was hollow. "There is no good Buu. Just me. Playing my part." The revelation struck like a hammer. Buu had manipulated them from the start, luring them into a false sense of hope. Now, their energy was being drained, fueling his evolution. Goku's vision swam as exhaustion set in. They were out of time, out of options. But then, Vegeta did the unthinkable. He placed a hand on Goku's shoulder, his voice low. "Listen carefully. There's one move left." Goku's eyes widened as Vegeta explained, a suicide gambit, a last-ditch explosion of energy that would obliterate everything, including themselves. "You can't be serious." Goku protested. Vegeta's smirk was grim. "You got a better idea?" Buu's laughter grew louder, his form swelling with stolen power. "Die, insects." Goku swallowed hard, then nodded. "All right. Let's do it." They clasped hands, their auras merging one final time, a supernova of light building between them. Buu's glee turned to horror as the energy reached critical mass. "No. Stop." The explosion tore through Buu's body, the shockwave ripping the monster apart from within. The world dissolved into blinding white, then silence. When the dust cleared, Goku lay sprawled on the broken earth, his body screaming in protest. Vegeta was nowhere to be seen. Had they won? Or had they just delayed the inevitable? His breath came in ragged gasps as the remains of Buu's flesh twitched, then began to reform. The fight wasn't over. It had only just begun. The air crackled with tension as Vegito's fusion time dwindled, his golden aura flickering like a dying flame. Across the battlefield, Majin Buu's grotesque form pulsed with dark energy, his laughter echoing as he sensed his opponent weakening. "Time's up, fusion trash," Buu taunted, his gelatinous body stretching unnaturally as he lunged forward. Vegito barely had time to react. Buu's fist slammed into his gut with the force of a meteor, sending him skidding across the ruined landscape. Gritting his teeth, Vegito forced himself upright, his muscles screaming in protest. Not yet, he growled, his voice strained. His hands snapped together, gathering a swirling mass of ki. Final Kamehameha. The beam erupted toward Buu, but the demonic being split his body in half, dodging effortlessly before reforming with a mocking grin. Vegito's vision blurred as the fusion's energy destabilized. His body shimmered, the golden light fracturing into two distinct auras. Goku and Vegeta reappeared, panting heavily. Damn it, Vegeta spat, wiping blood from his lip. We were so close. Goku clenched his fists, his eyes locked on Buu. No time to complain. We gotta finish this before he absorbs us too. Buu's laughter grew louder, his body expanding as he prepared another attack. Now you're just two snacks instead of one. With a roar, Vegeta charged first, his fists wreathed in blue fire. Buu countered with a barrage of stretchy punches, but Vegeta weaved through them, landing a crushing elbow to Buu's jaw. Before Buu could recover, Goku teleported above him, driving a two-handed hammer strike into his skull. The ground shattered beneath the impact, but Buu's body merely rippled, absorbing the shock. You insects can't hurt me. Buu's arm shot out, wrapping around Vegeta's throat and hurling him into Goku. The two scions collided mid-air, but Goku twisted, using instant transmission to reappear behind Buu. Kaioken times 20. His body flared crimson as he unleashed a devastating combo, kicks, punches, and energy blasts, each strike faster than the last. Buu staggered, his regeneration struggling to keep up. Seeing an opening, Vegeta ignited his royal blue aura, his power skyrocketing. Final flash. The beam seared through Buu's torso, vaporizing half his body. But the monster's laughter never stopped. His cells bubbled, reforming instantly. Nice try, Buu sneered, his hand shooting out and grabbing Vegeta's face. Dark energy pulsed as absorption tendrils slithered from his palm. Goku's eyes widened. No. He lunged forward, but Buu's free hand caught him mid-air, pinning both scions in place. Say goodbye. Desperation ignited in Vegeta's eyes. He locked gazes with Goku, a silent understanding passing between them. With a final surge of strength, they channeled their remaining ki into a simultaneous blast. The explosion tore Buu's grip loose, sending all three flying. Goku landed hard, his body aching, but he forced himself up. We can't let him absorb us, he gasped. Vegeta nodded, his breathing ragged. Then we hit him with everything. No holding back. Buu rose from the smoke, his form warping as his rage intensified. You'll pay for that. His body ballooned, his power swelling to terrifying levels. The sky darkened as Buu unleashed a colossal energy sphere, hurling it toward the exhausted scions. Goku and Vegeta braced themselves, their auras flaring one last time. Now, they shouted in unison. Their combined Kamehameha and Gallic gun collided with Buu's attack, the shockwave shaking the planet. For a moment, the beams locked in a deadly struggle, neither side yielding. Then, with a deafening roar, the energies detonated. The blast consumed everything, leaving only a crater of smoldering ruin. As the dust settled, Goku and Vegeta lay motionless, their bodies at their limit. Buu's laughter echoed once more, his silhouette emerging from the smoke, his regeneration already stitching his wounds. Pathetic, he sneered, looming over them. Any last words? Goku's fingers twitched, his gaze flickering to Vegeta. A faint smirk tugged at his lips. Yeah. We're not done yet. Deep within, a spark of defiance ignited. The ground trembled as a new power stirred, one beyond their limits. The final battle was far from over. The battlefield was a smoldering ruin, the air thick with the acrid scent of charred earth and ki. Vegito, now split back into Goku and Vegeta, stood panting, their fused power gone, their bodies battered. Majin Buu loomed before them, his grotesque form pulsating with stolen energy, his laughter a guttural echo of triumph. Pathetic, Buu sneered, stretching his gelatinous limbs. Even together, you were nothing. Goku wiped blood from his lip, his muscles screaming. 30 minutes, that's all they'd had as Vegito before Buu's absorption tore them apart. Now, with fusion off the table, their options were dwindling. Vegeta's fists clenched, his pride warring with exhaustion. Kakarot, he growled, we're running out of time. Buu lunged, his fist a blur. Goku barely dodged, the shockwave tearing the ground beneath him. Vegeta retaliated with a volley of ki blasts, but Buu's body split apart, reforming behind him. A crushing elbow sent Vegeta crashing into the rubble. Goku's heart pounded, they couldn't keep this up. Then, a voice echoed in his mind, strength isn't just power. It's the will to protect. With a roar, Goku's aura erupted, gold flaring into crimson, the Ultra Instinct silver hue flickering at its edges. His movements became instinct, his body dodging before his mind registered the attack. Buu's eyes widened as Goku vanished, reappearing with a devastating punch to his gut. The impact sent shockwaves across the battlefield. Vegeta staggered up, watching in disbelief. "Damn you, Kakarot," he muttered, but there was no malice, only determination. He closed his eyes, reaching deep. His aura shifted, not the cold blue of his usual power, but a raw, untamed violet. "I won't be left behind." Energy crackled around him as he tapped into something primal, his own version of Ultra Instinct, forged not through divine training but sheer Saiyan resolve. Buu recoiled as Vegeta's fist connected, the force sending him skidding back. The two scions moved in perfect sync now, their attacks relentless. Goku's fists were lightning, Vegeta's kicks thunder. Buu's regeneration slowed, his stolen energy depleting under the onslaught. Then, the opening came. Goku locked eyes with Vegeta, no words needed. In an instant, they crossed their arms, charging a final, combined attack. Final Kamehameha, they roared in unison. The beam was blinding, a swirling vortex of blue and violet that tore through Buu's body, atomizing him cell by cell. Silence. The dust settled. Buu was gone. Goku collapsed to his knees, his body giving out. Vegeta swayed but stayed upright, his breath ragged. "We did it," Goku managed, grinning weakly. Vegeta scoffed, but there was no bite to it. "Took you long enough." The aftermath was quiet. The earth, though scarred, would heal. The people, though shaken, would rebuild. But something deeper had shifted, the rivalry between Goku and Vegeta had transformed. No longer just competitors, they were equals, partners in a way neither had imagined. Whis observed from afar, smiling. "Interesting," he mused. "Perhaps the universe is in better hands than I thought." And as the sun rose over the broken horizon, the two scions stood side by side, not as rivals, but as warriors who had faced their limits, and surpassed them together. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: whatever came next, they'd face it as one.